Determined women of destiny. Oh yeah, we'll be on the motivator. Come and see. Passion meets purpose every single time. Amazing women shining, letting their light climb. Stories to empower, courage to believe, courage inform, inspire. You will achieve. Women of destiny. Yeah.
Hey, good people. Welcome to the show. I'm your girl, Yvonne, the Motivator Man. I'd like to thank my sponsors. That's Joseph Slinger, and also my partners, Mr. C Live, 520 Creative. I am sorry, 520. 520 Collective. Come on, man. I'm sorry, y'all. And then Infinite Sound. So you go check out all of those people. Those are my partners. They're so nice. They collaborate with me and help me do what I do. My guest today is one phenomenal woman. I know we always hear about, oh, phenomenal woman am I? No, she's actually a phenomenal woman. Her story is amazing. I feel it's amazing. I think you will too. She grew up with three dads. Isn't that wonderful? Her dad, her sister's dad, and her mom's husband. All three of them took on the dad role to make sure that her sister, and her mom had everything they needed so that they could live a productive, positive life. And she took all of that knowledge from living with those three wonderful men, and she is now the CEO of Young Men Strong. That is an organization that provides programs and services for men 8 to 80. So help me welcome Nijaah Howard.
Oh, thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you for having me on this beautiful show. I'm super excited, and I just hope that I'm able to bless someone here tonight on the value of family and community. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, I'm so glad that you accepted because when I first met you and you discussed how you had three dads,
Hmm.
and honestly, my head was spinning three dads, right? And you explained, right? Your dad, your sister's dad, and your mom's husband. I'm like, okay. And I'm saying to myself, that had to be chaotic. And you were like, and all three men were friends.
Hmm.
And I just need you to explain that to my listeners because we don't hear about that. We hear about one person upset at the other person, and I don't want your child around my child, and if I catch you near my child, and all that other stuff. But you didn't have that.
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate. My sister and I were really, really fortunate. I think a lot of it start with just self-respect for the woman, right? A woman has to know who she is. A woman has to know her value and her worth. And when you come to any table, especially with a man, when he sees that you are a woman of value, a woman of real essence and able to contribute, you're someone who's a giver, you are kind, you're a lover, then birds of a feather flock together. My mother chose men who were decent, stand-up men because she was a quality-filled woman.
Ooh,
And
I like that.
yeah, and when my sister was born, she met my dad and my sister's dad, um, and he was an incredible man. He wasn't the best man, right? When I say the best man, what I mean is she ended up marrying my stepfather, right? They didn't have arguments and fusses and fightings. They didn't have that whole baby mama drama thing where she kept my sister away from her dad, or he said, well, if I give you money, money's going to be used for your nails and your hair. None of that intertwined growing up in my household. And then my mother realized when that relationship, when that marriage, because that was her first marriage, she was about 17. And when that marriage had dissolved. She realized that my sister was, an only child, and she wanted that to change because one day a couple of kids was picking on my sister. And the little girl that was picking on my sister said, I'm going to go get my sister. And my mother overheard that and said, Oh, my baby needs a sister. And and she said, I need someone who's going to fill that role. And again, she manifested it. Manifestation is everything. If you ask the universe for what it is that you deserve and what you want, the universe will provide it for you. The Bible even says, ask and it shall be given to you. And so she asked for someone to come along and bada bing, bada boom, my dad comes along. She hadn't seen him in several years, but this is a man she went to junior high school with. They had met in the sixth grade. And when they reconnected, it was like a match made in heaven. And and I was conceived from a relationship of love, respect, and um, peace. And so when I grew up, the household was really, really kind. The household was nice. I mean, my sister's father, my sister's family had welcomed me into their family. There was never like well, this is not my biological niece. There was none of that. They were kind. It was like calling my sister's dad was what it was supposed to be. And, and my sister calling my father, my biological father, dad, was what it was supposed to be. These two men came into the family. They provided, they made sure my mother had money in her pocket. They saw us when they could. Now, I will say they were not in the household like that. My sister's father nor my biological father were not in the household like that. My mother held it down. She was a single mom raising two beautiful girls, and she held it down. She held down her household. But she always had a level of respect from these two men. And then when my stepfather came along, and I don't call him a stepdad, I call him a step up dad, which is, um, to me, he stepped up to the plate. He was ready, willing, and able. Um, he had the capability and the ability. And when he came into the picture, he saw a beautiful woman, young lady with two beautiful girls. And it filled him because he was a solo man. He had only one daughter and it was what he was looking for. He immediately asked my mother's hand after about, I think, 3 months after dating, and she said no, and so they dated.
I just knew you was gonna say. She said yes.
She said no, because my mother was a wonderful example of a happy woman who was solo raising her children. There was no deprivation, there was no poverty mindset, there was no woe is me because I'm raising two girls on my own. We just didn't grow up in that kind of environment. I grew up in an environment where my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my mother were women of value, and they knew it. So my household, my family was predominantly women. And these weren't just easy women. These were women who held down houses, held down great positions in jobs. So even though we love men, we knew that we could still make it with or without. So when my stepfather came up, my step up dad, it wasn't when he asked for her hand in marriage, it wasn't like, yeah, save me, you here to rescue me, please. It wasn't that at all. It was like, I'll think about it. You know, believe it or not, they dated for 9 years before they
They
actually
got
got
married.
they got married.
Really? That in itself is amazing
Yeah,
because usually the first thing is, like you said, hey, I want someone to help me, right? And you speak of the women in your family as strong women and women able to hold their own, but not women that are saying they want to be alone.
right.
And you see, now you have women Oh, I don't need no man. It's so funny. I never hear men say they don't need a woman. It's
That's right.
only women saying I don't need a man. And some women may get angry at me, but yeah, they are needed.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's the right one that's needed. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the right one to be there. And as long as you have the right one, then you can make it work. Like you said, these three men, two men she had her daughters, and then her husband came along.
Yeah, and my step-up dad was the kind of father that he filled that role so well that we really
Mhm.
didn't even miss our biological fathers. We enjoyed seeing them, but it wasn't like a hole in our hearts because they weren't in the household. My step-up dad really filled that role very well. He was the one who reminded us of their birthdays and to call them. He was the one that reminded us that, not to just recognize him on Father's Day, but to also call and acknowledge them as well. So my step-up dad really deserves a lot of kudos for ensuring that our relationship with our fathers remained strong because he was the one that made sure that was fostered.
So, having such great foundation when it comes to the men in your life in an early stage, when did you see the need for assisting young men, well, boys, young men, and older men in reaching that type of level that you were raised with?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I've had, over the years, my program, Young Men Strong, started in 2012 after the murder of Trayvon Martin. And that's really what catapulted me into this movement to want to ensure that our young and adult men of color understood their value and their worth. And having grown up in a household where the men were so respectful and so kind and so loving and stood with integrity and loyalty and kindness, they filled such a major gap. And when I saw how young men today, even of yesterday, when I first started the program, when I seen how they showed up, um, even our men, I could see where the gaps were missing. I could see where the contributions of having a strong men as role models in their life, I could see where they were missing that. And because I was given that opportunity, that gift to understand the value of a male community, a strong male community, it was only the right thing to do to follow my God-given gift of wanting to make sure that other young men were giving what they weren't provided. And that was the wholesomeness of having strong male support around them. So when I started Young Men Strong, I remember saying we have to create. I got on my knees and I remember I said, God, I want you to use my platform to really help the young and adult men. And God said, what is it that you want? And I said, I want young men to be strong. I want them to be strong mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually strong, psychologically, financially strong. And that's where the name of the organization came from, Young Men Strong. And um, and now it's a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization that caters to young and adult men from ages 10 all the way to 80. And we are a trailblazer. We are a very unique organization because we provide a safe space for adult men to come in and not only mentor the younger generation, but to also say, I am married. I am a homeowner. I have a PhD. I wear tons of suits. I have a lot of houses. I have a lot of cars. I have a lot of education, and I still need help.
Mm.
And by creating this kind of environment, this safe space, this place where our men could feel safe, knowing that they're going to get the answers to a lot of the problems that they've endured. Um, my goal is to ensure that our families, the the family nucleus is restored in the Black and Brown community. And part of doing that is helping our young and adult men realize their value and their worth.
You have a slogan that says, "When young men are strong, um, women can," and I want to paraphrase it, but I'm not going to because it's so wonderful. Tell us that slogan when you about when men are strong
Yeah,
and mhm,
when we strengthen our boys and our men, we stabilize our girls and our women.
yes, that's it. That is it, and it is so true. Um, I think that your organization is refreshing, and what people don't know, you also are a minister, and you also are a mental health therapist.
Hmm.
So spiritually and psychologically, Naja has the ability to help men, young men, boys, older men, and to bring all of them in one room. That is just amazing. And to have men want to say, I want to be in these rooms. The boys, yeah, they've got after school. They don't want to go home anyway, right? So they want to come to an after school program. But you, like you said, you have grown men that have PhDs, they have houses, they have cars, they're husbands, they're bankers, they're all of these things, and they're like, yeah, I need this because this is going to help me continue in what I do.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
tell us some of the programs that Young Men Strong offers.
Yeah, so we have a lot of wonderful programs. So a lot of the things that we teach and because I am a mental health counselor and a professional and I also um am really, really a stickler about, using strength-based language to really help our young and adult men find their value. Some of the things that we tackle is when it comes to our men is really three main things that really catapults us into something different. We help our men to and young men to address those feelings of one, isolation, feeling like they're not seen, not heard. And so we provide that sense of brotherhood, that sense of community that gives them a place to feel at home without feeling judged. And two, we also provide and try to remove those sense of being invisible, right? Feeling like they are not enough, and helping them to restore their self-worth and providing them with master classes and workshops and vocational training to help them build up their self-esteem and their value and what we're able to provide. So we have tons of master classes on, anger management, conflict resolution, self-esteem development, you know, um, these are just a few of the things that we do to really help our men feel more seen and more appreciated for who they are, so that we're not just calling them a king, we're actually showing them how to become one. And part of that is giving them the tools that they need. The last thing that we like to tackle is um, feeling incomplete. A lot of our men, especially those who grow up in solo parent households, feel like they're not enough. And oftentimes that comes from the feeling of not having a father in their household when they were growing up. And so now, even though they are adult men, there's still an underlining feeling of, I'm not enough. There's something missing. And so we tackle those feelings of incompleteness by providing them a network of brotherhood, um, that makes them feel like they have all the tools they need to be successful. They just need to know how to use those tools.
I'm going to ask the question that's the elephant in the room, right? Why a men's group, a boys group, and not a woman's?
That's such an excellent question. And, I can't control what God what God puts in
Right.
me. I have to be honest. I've asked myself that question a million times, and the way God said it was, well, you was a solo mom raising your son, and so I understood not only the value of having a strong male counterpart in village, but I also understood that women, in order for women to show up the way women show up, we need our men to show up the way they need to show up because
Mm,
my son needs me and I need him. And so, in order to really get our kings to understand their value, we first have to not only help the parents who are raising them solo, but we also have to provide a space for them as well. So, so I personally love working with boys and men more just because I connect with them so much better. But I knew there was four main reasons why I am qualified to do what I do, along with what you've said already. But growing up with three men, three beautiful men, that means something. Number two, God gave me the ability to birth a man. To this day, I've never seen a male give birth to another male. There is something powerful about a woman because she can birth a whole human being,
mm.
which means that now
Yes.
she has the ability and the capability to raise them. Now, does she need to learn the tools? Absolutely. And that's what I do. I help those single moms who need to learn how to use those tools, but they absolutely can do it if they're doing it right. I stand on the shoulders of many women, those in my personal family, those I've seen in the history books that have raised successful men. And what makes them different from other ones? Nothing, except one knows how to use the tools, the other ones don't. The other thing that makes me very qualified is that we have to stop looking at gender as being able to raise the same gender. There are plenty of men out there who have raised successful women. I'm one of them. And it's funny because whenever I say a man can raise a daughter, people go, "Oh yeah, they could digest that very easily. Oh yeah, yeah, men could raise a daughter, absolutely no problem. Yeah." The moment I say a woman can raise a man, there's always resistance. And they always say, but a man needs a man. That's not true. Men do need men. But if a woman is running the household, and because statistically they say that 88% of women across the United States of America are running the household, 67% of those are African American homes. These women have to be provided the tools to run their house and raise their sons to be men. If we're going to have men eventually growing up, we got to teach the ones who are raising them. And last but not least, what makes me qualified is I'm a woman. And as a woman who have dated and seen adult men, I see where there's so much disparity between just emotional intelligence between other grown men. So, if I just want to be that vehicle, that safe space where I give men an opportunity to learn and to be better. If they are okay, I want to make you good. If you're good, I want to make you great. And if you're great, I want to make you excellent. And if you're excellent, I want to make you outstanding.
That is so amazing what you just said. Because a lot of women, um, say, well, I'm a female. How can I raise a male? The thing is, if you raise a good human being, there'll be other men in his life to show him how to tie a tie, if that's what you're saying. They'll show him what to actually do in the bathroom so they won't keep snapping it in the zipper, right? All that other stuff, like my grandson, um, you know, yes, I can teach him how to wash himself successfully, and I can answer all of his questions, right? But more than anything else, I want him to be a great person. because there's going to be men all around him. And if he's not a great person, he's going to choose the wrong men to be in his life. So as long as he's a great person, he'll choose the right men and he'll learn all the stuff that me as a woman, I could not teach him, as they say. Can I teach him how to cook? Can his mother teach him how to cook? Yes. Can his mother teach him how to sew? Yes. Can his mother teach him how to kick a soccer ball? No, that's because she doesn't know soccer. But if that's what's missing, there'll be a male that will teach him how to kick a soccer ball. The main thing that you said that I grasped from it is that as long as you have the foundation of a great human being, you have the ability for everything else. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for men that have integrity, right? We're looking for men that have respect. We're looking for men that will stand up on their morals and not fall down on their sorrows.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I want to change the mindset that we ha so many women have. A lot of women will say things like, I can't. As long as you say I can't, you won't.
Right.
When I was raising my son, I never raised him with I can't. I don't need to have a male part in order to teach him how to use the bathroom. I don't
That's right.
need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to bench press 250 pounds in order for him to understand the value of good nutrition and health and staying in shape and being healthy. I don't have to um, be engulfed with sports to understand that, how to take direction from other people outside of just his coach. We have to get out of this thing that says, I can't. I can't teach him how to be a man. I know that this is very controversial. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's going to be a lot of men and a lot of women because I've been doing this for a long time. And I know there are still people in such antiquated ways of thinking that they just can't fathom they can't fathom where I'm coming from just yet because I'm new. Everything I say is new to the to the world, is new because it's quiet. But the reality of it is that you can raise a man. Um, yes, you can. And do you need a village? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never
Yes.
tell a man that he can't raise his daughter because he doesn't get his period. He can't raise his daughter because he doesn't grow breast. That is so insignificant to say and to limit your capabilities because you don't share the same gender is a very, very limited way of raising your children. You have to raise them with the mindset of, yes, I can. So one of the things I want women to understand is that they absolutely can raise their sons into mature, responsible, emotionally intelligent, strong young men. They absolutely can. And I want women to know that they are enough.
Well, Naja, I thank you for being on the show. Can you please let the listeners know how they can contact you, how they can become involved with Young Men Strong if that's something that they want to do too?
Yeah, I would love for the community of Southeast Queens to come out and really wrap their, loving arms around this organization, Young Men Strong. We are always in route of young men from ages 10 all the way up to the mature 80. This is a wonderful brotherhood group. And you can find us at youngmenstrong.org, or you can email the management team at youngmenstrong@gmail.com, or you can reach the management team at 929-260 4970.
Thank you for that information. So the listeners can definitely contact you if you're in the Southeast Queens area, right? The Southeast Queens. And you feel you want to do something, do it with Young Men Strong. And until next time, good people, peace and blessings. Y'all keep doing what you're doing until what you're doing gets done.
Of destiny.